Hello, it is Katrina Russell again. I hope you are staying safe and healthy. Um, it occurs to me as I go through social media posts that a lot of people don't understand what the National Socialist Party was. They seem to throw the word around a lot. I'm not even sure they understand that socialist was part of that party because it goes under another name. But it was. It was the National Socialist Party. Um, and a big part of that party was when its leader of the party started preaching how one particular group had a lot of power and money. So, for context, after World War I, Germany was made to pay back lots and lots of money to other countries for the war they basically started in World War I. This caused Germany's economy to just collapse. Like one day they changed money out, and if you didn't get your money changed, then you didn't have any. It was like wheelbarrows worth of money to buy a thing of bread. It was horrible. People were struggling. There were no jobs. The money that they did make wasn't worth anything. And the people who were seen to have money were the people who ran banks and things like that. And they were hardworking individuals who just happened to be in the better industries under the situation. And so, because of life choices that they made, they were in a better place financially when the crash happened. So one particular person started preaching that it was because of those people that everybody else was doing badly. It was because of those people that everybody else was poor. That somehow those people, and he actually went so far as to even call them not people, to call them rats, to call them animals, that they were so disgusting because they were stealing from the average German. They were stealing from others to create a better life, to become rich themselves. Let me put it that way. And so the National Socialist Party made this man their spokesperson and got the entire country riled up against one particular race of people. And suddenly it was okay to think that this race of people were horrible and disgusting and deserved to be treated as such. And that they somehow, because they were successful, because of their life choices, that they were stealing and they were oppressing the average German person. Now, I don't know if this sounds familiar to you, but this sounds an awful lot like what's going on today in the Socialist Party, the Marxist Party, the super, super left party, where they are deciding that there's one group of people who is somehow oppressing an entire other group of people because certain individuals in that group are super successful. Now, obviously, there are super successful people in every group identity. And treating someone as a group identity has never been a good idea. Never. Wasn't a good idea in Germany. And it wasn't a good idea 100 years ago. And it wasn't a good idea ever. Anywhere. But now, places like California are deciding that the Civil Rights Act was a bad idea. And that instead of saying that people are no longer allowed to judge you by your color or your race or your sex or whatever, that's the only thing that you should be judged by. Because if you belong to this one particular race and sex, really it's race and sex, but specifically race, that you're evil and you've been oppressing other people and stealing from other people because they're not as successful. And they take into no account personal responsibility and life choices. I don't understand how anyone could possibly think that following in the path of the National Socialist Party is a good idea. In creating barriers or creating conflict amongst races and making it so that one race particularly is thought of as evil could possibly be a good idea. And that the only way it can be settled is to take things from that one race and give it to the other race, because somehow that makes things even. Now, I'm not sure if everybody knows how that ended for the National Socialist Party, or the race that they did not particularly like. Some people deny anything happened. But for those of us who understand the National Socialist Party, they understand that National Socialism is a bad idea. That treating people as identities is a bad idea. And that the best way for a country to be run is on individualism, and for individuals to make the best choices for their lives, and not for the National Socialist Party to decide who is right and who is wrong and who is good and who is bad. So, that just reminded me of a Afraid to Be You and Me song, or skit. So if you just happen to be just sitting there quietly watching TV. Anyway, so if you are one of those people who think that the National Socialist Party was a horrible, disgusting thing, then you're right. And you might want to think about your own political ideas and whether or not you think that it might be prudent to blame an entire race on the fact that others aren't doing as well. Or if you think it's prudent to decide who should and shouldn't get things, and who should and shouldn't be considered human, even. Because I'm looking around at the news and I'm seeing people that are being disposed of. I'm seeing cities being burned to the ground. I'm seeing entire cultures being told that they're no longer allowed to have opinions or allowed to be able to speak the way they want to, or allowed to be able to do anything, because they are evil and oppressive, because some of them have been successful. Some. Most are not. Most are the average American, just like everybody else. But because some have been successful, somehow that makes them evil. Just like a certain other race in Germany, according to the National Socialist Party. So I just wanted to put that out there, because socialism never ends well, along with the Soviet Socialist Party, all these socialists who decide who's good and who's bad, and what's right and what's wrong, and who should have things and who shouldn't have things, and who should be able to speak and who should not be able to speak, and who lives and who dies. That's how the Socialist Party runs. I used to be extremely liberal until the liberal base started leaning like the Tower of Pisa, in which case I could see the direction that it was falling, and it was not a pleasant one. So, I'm still undeclared. I am not a Republican. I am not a conservative. I am not a right-winger. I am a moderate liberal who understands that the Socialist Party, who feels it's their job to deem who is important and who has rights and whose opinions matter, is never where I want to stand. Okay, that's all I have to say for now. Like if you want to, follow if you want to. I talk about being good to each other and understanding each other and not being evil in my messages. So please watch more if you're interested, and like and subscribe and all those things. Thank you. Have a nice day.